Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to you. This is another video lesson in our series for English File 4th edition, the intermediate level. So, whether you're learning English for your work, maybe for your travels, or honestly just for the fun of it, this course, well, it's designed to help you build your confidence and, of course, improve your fluency. Okay, so today we are going to be diving into Unit 6 and specifically Part A. And Part A has a great title. It's called Behind the Scenes. So what does that mean? It means we're going to be talking about films, movies. We're going to talk about how they are actually made. And let's have a look at what we are going to do today, step by step. First up, reading. We have a reading section, and in this part, we're going to focus on something really important, understanding the main point in a paragraph. You're going to read a real article, and it's all about a specific job in films. Have you ever heard of a film extra? A background actor. That's what we'll be reading about. Next, grammar. Okay, grammar time. We are going to look at the passive voice. And not just one tense, but all of them. It's a really useful grammar point. So I'm going to do my absolute best to explain it to you, to explain how it works. Just a little warning, it can be a bit tricky, so be ready for some difficulties, but we'll get through it together. Then, pronunciation. This follows on from the grammar nicely. We're going to focus on past participles, like made, seen, forgotten, both the regular ones and the irregular ones. We'll listen to them and, most importantly, practice saying them. Why? Because you really need them for the passive voice and also for the perfect tenses. After that, vocabulary. This is all about the cinema. You're going to learn lots of new words. We are talking about types of films like thrillers or a rom-com, for example. We'll learn words for people like the cast and the director and lots of other useful phrases too. Then we have listening. Okay, this is a good one. You're going to listen to an amazing story, and it's a true story. It's about a student who actually got to work with the one and only, the famous director Steven Spielberg. And finally, we have two short parts. First, speaking. It's going to be like a little interview. There will be a list of questions, just simple questions about your film watching habits, what's your favorite kind of film, your experiences at the cinema, and so on. And then lastly, writing. We'll focus on how to write a film review. I will show you how to structure a short review, maybe to recommend a film to a friend, and something like that. Okay, so are you ready? Are you ready to go behind the scenes of the film world? Let's do it. Okay, so moving on now, part 1, reading. So, first of all, in part A, we have a little warm-up activity. And it starts with a definition. The word extra. What is an extra? Well, an extra is a person, right? An actor, basically. But they are employed to play a very small part in a film. Usually, they're just part of a crowd, like they're in the background. So, have a look at that definition. Also, look at the photos in the article. And what I want you to do is this. Can you think of three negative things about being an extra? What might be difficult or not so great about the job? They are not professional actors. These extras, but they actually do a really important job during filming. Believe it or not, you always see these people in films, right? But do you ever really pay attention to them? Not really. Their job is almost like being like a decoration. I know that sounds awful when you say it like that, but I think you get what I'm saying. Without extras, honestly, films would just look so unrealistic. Okay, so thinking about the question, what are the negative things? To help you, here on the screen you can see some sentence starters. You can use these to structure your answers. For example, one bad thing that you might, it could be negative because another problem is. So it's a good warm-up. Just, get your brains working. Think about the negative aspects. There are many. I'm sure you can think of some. Now, part B. In this part, you're going to read the article. It's called Behind the Scenes. And what I want you to do here is simple. Just read it, and as you're reading, check. Are your ideas mentioned? You're not looking for detailed answers to difficult questions, okay? Not yet. You're just reading to see if the article mentions any of those negative points that you thought of in the previous task in part A. In other words, just read, listen to the words in your head, and try to get a general idea. Try to understand what this article is all about. So, over to you. Read the article Behind the Scenes. The world of extras. Without extras, most film and TV scenes would be empty and unrealistic. But while we are obsessed with movie stars, we never hear much about the extras, because, of course, that's their job not to be noticed. So, what is the world of extras really like? 1. They have to be. Days on set can be very long, sometimes lasting more than 15 hours. A lot of that time is spent just sitting around, waiting to be used in a scene, or repeating a single shot a dozen times. Extras usually spend their waiting time reading or playing cards. There are days you get to the set and you wait and wait, but you aren't used, says Amy Rogers, a regular extra in TV shows, including Homeland. 2. They need to be good at. Extras often need to make a scene appear alive and busy, while at the same time remaining totally silent, so as not to interfere with the actor's dialogue. This means they have to pretend to have a conversation without actually making any noise. Also, dance scenes are often filmed in silence, and the music is added in later. When a crowd scene was being filmed for the movie Jersey Girl, the extras had to pretend to clap and cheer, but it was all done in silence, and when they clapped, their hands never touched. 3. They have to put up with all kinds of. Sometimes when a winter scene is being filmed, and all the extras are wearing thick jackets and hats and gloves, it's actually 30 degrees and the snow is fake. You can tell whether it's really cold if you can see the breath coming out of people's mouths. Also, when scenes are being filmed inside during the summer, the air conditioning has to be turned off because of the noise. 4. They have to be able to keep. Phones aren't allowed on set, and photos are strictly forbidden. While the film Insurgent was being made, one extra took a photo of the set and posted it online. Since then, she has never been employed as an extra again. 5. They are extremely. Although extras aren't individually very well paid, a film with a lot of extras needs a big production budget, especially in Britain. The cost of extras is one of the reasons why epics, such as Ben-Hur, are largely a thing of the past. Gandhi was the last one. The funeral scene alone needed 300,000 extras. This is why now a lot of British films are being shot in countries where extras are paid less, for example in Eastern Europe. 6. Sometimes they are not. Nowadays, where possible, crowds are digitized. In Gladiator, they used 2,000 live actors to create a digital crowd of about 35,000 people. For some of the crowd scenes, in addition to the real-life extras and the digital ones, they also used cutouts made of cardboard. But digital extras can look fake, and cardboard extras can look very two-dimensional, particularly if the camera moves. The latest thing is inflatable extras, which look more real. They can be deflated, stored. A crowd of 10,000 can fit into one large truck, and reused. 7. They can't watch films like people. Once you know how a movie has been filmed, it's hard to just watch it like any other person. I can't watch TV anymore without looking at the extras to see who is doing it right and who is doing it wrong, said one extra. Now take a look at some vocabulary which is taken from the article. It will help you do the second task. To be obsessed with. To be noticed. A shot. On set, the set. Remaining. Interfere with. Silence. Clap and cheer. Put up with. Breath. Strictly forbidden. Digitized. Eastern Europe. Cutouts made of cardboard. Two-dimensional. Inflatable extras. Can be deflated and stored. Alright, let's keep going. So we've read the article once just for the general idea. Now part C. Part C. We're going to read the article again. But this time we're going to focus on each section one by one. And here is the task. You can see there is a list of words on the screen. Let me read them to you. We have expensive, miming, ordinary, patient, real, secrets, weather. Okay, so these are the words. And what you need to do is kind of choose the correct word from this list to complete the heading for each paragraph in the article. Each word is used only once, so you have to match them carefully. So the strategy is simple. First, read the paragraph. Just read it, then decide which word from the list best summarizes, the main idea of that paragraph. Which word fits best? That's your heading. The world of extras. Without extras, most film and TV scenes would be empty and unrealistic. But while we are obsessed with movie stars, we never hear much about the extras, because, of course, that's their job not to be noticed. So, what is the world of extras really like? 1. They have to be. Days on set can be very long, sometimes lasting more than 15 hours. A lot of that time is spent just sitting around, waiting to be used in a scene, or repeating a single shot a dozen times. Extras usually spend their waiting time reading or playing cards. There are days you get to the set and you wait and wait, but you aren't used, says Amy Rogers, a regular extra in TV shows, including Homeland. 2. They need to be good at. Extras often need to make a scene appear alive and busy, while at the same time remaining totally silent, so as not to interfere with the actor's dialogue. This means they have to pretend to have a conversation without actually making any noise. Also, dance scenes are often filmed in silence, and the music is added in later. When a crowd scene was being filmed for the movie Jersey Girl, the extras had to pretend to clap and cheer, but it was all done in silence, and when they clapped, their hands never touched. 3. They have to put up with all kinds of. Sometimes when a winter scene is being filmed, and all the extras are wearing thick jackets and hats and gloves, it's actually 30 degrees and the snow is fake. You can tell whether it's really cold if you can see the breath coming out of people's mouths. Also, when scenes are being filmed inside during the summer, the air conditioning has to be turned off because of the noise. 4. They have to be able to keep. Phones aren't allowed on set, and photos are strictly forbidden. While the film Insurgent was being made, one extra took a photo of the set and posted it online. Since then, she has never been employed as an extra again. 5. They are extremely. All the extras aren't individually very well paid. A film with a lot of extras needs a big production budget, especially in Britain. The cost of extras is one of the reasons why epics, such as Ben-Hur, are largely a thing of the past. Gandhi was the last one. The funeral scene alone needed 300,000 extras. This is why now a lot of British films are being shot in countries where extras are paid less, for example in Eastern Europe. 6. Sometimes they are not. Nowadays, where possible, crowds are digitized. In Gladiator, they used 2,000 live actors to create a digital crowd of about 35,000 people. For some of the crowd scenes, in addition to the real-life extras and the digital ones, they also used cutouts made of cardboard. But digital extras can look fake, and cardboard extras can look very two-dimensional, particularly if the camera moves. The latest thing is inflatable extras, which look more real. They can be deflated, stored. A crowd of 10,000 can fit into one large truck, and reused. 7. They can't watch films like people. Once you know how a movie has been filmed, it's hard to just watch it like any other person. I can't watch TV anymore without looking at the extras to see who is doing it right and who is doing it wrong, said one extra. Part D. Okay, moving on to Part D. Now, this is a fun one. It's a kind of memory challenge. I want you to try to answer these questions. Can you answer them from memory, just from what you remember from reading the article? If you can't, don't worry, it's totally fine. That's why the next step is to quickly look back at the article to check your answers. So let's have a look at the questions. Okay, 1. What do extras often do while they are waiting? 2. What did the extras have to do in the crowd scene in Jersey Girls? 3. How do you know if the snow is real or not in winter scenes? 4. What did an extra do during the filming of Insurgent, and what happened as a result? 5. Why are a lot of British films made in Eastern Europe? 6. Why are inflatable extras popular nowadays? 7. What happens when extras watch TV? So, try to answer them. If you can't do it from memory, that's perfectly okay. Just go back to the article, have another quick read, and find the answers. But it's good for you to try first. Give your brain a little workout. And a bit later, of course, you can check your ideas. Okay, let's check. Remember that your answers can be a bit different from these that you can see on your screen. They're just main points. What do extras often do while they're waiting? They read or play cards. What did the extras have to do in the crowd scene in Jersey Girls? They had to pretend to clap and cheer, but in silence. Like something like, yeah, okay. Number 3. How do you know if the snow is real or not in winter scenes? The snow is real if you can see the breath, the breath, coming out of people's mouths. Okay, next. What did an extra do during the filming of Insurgent and what happened as a result? She took a photo of the set and posted it online, and she's never been employed as an extra again. Number 5. Why are a lot of British films made in Eastern Europe? Because extras are paid less than in Britain, so they are cheaper. Okay, why are inflatable extras popular nowadays? Because they look more real than digital extras and can be stored and reused. And finally, what happens when extras watch TV? They look at the extras to see who is doing things right or wrong. They can't just enjoy, the process of it. Okay, good. Now let's translate this article. You can skip this part if it's not necessary for you, but for my Russian audience, let's hunt for vocabulary. Итак, мир статистов. Будем переводить это слово так. Исполнителей, второстепенные роли, в основном без слов, то есть экстра, статисты. Такие вот мини-актеры. Так, без статистов большинство фильмов и, получается, каких-то сцен на телевизоре были бы пустые и нереалистичные. Но пока мы одержимы, здесь это слово можно выделить, obsessed with, то есть одержимы звездами фильмов, мы никогда не слышим много про статистов, потому что, конечно, это является их работой быть незамеченным, то есть не быть замеченным, дословно. Но что из себя представляет этот мир статистов? Здесь у нас глагол to be like, имеется в виду, что он из себя представляет. Так, они должны быть терпеливыми. Дни, получается, на съемках могут быть очень долгими, иногда длятся более чем 15 часов. Много этого времени проводится просто тем, что люди сидят вокруг, ждут, пока их используют на сцене, или повторяют, то есть один и тот же кадр много-много раз. Вообще dozen — это дюжину, то есть 12. Имеется в виду здесь значение много. Статисты обычно проводят это время ожидания, читая или играя в карты. А есть дни, когда, получается, вас, грубо говоря, вытаскивают на съемки, а вы ждете и ждете, но вас не используют. Говорит Эми Роджерс, то есть, получается, постоянный статист в ТВ-шоу, который включает и вот это вот. Так, второе. Им нужно быть хорошими, получается, им нужно хорошо владеть мимикой. Статисты очень, часто им нужно сделать так, чтобы сцена выглядела живой и alive and busy, что здесь именно живой и оживленный, то есть так перебрать слова. Имеется в виду, чтобы сцена была как-то наполнена людьми или какими-то на заднем фоне вещами. В то же самое время оставаясь полностью тихим, то есть беззвучным, чтобы, so as not to, это чтобы не вмешиваться, interfere with, то есть чтобы не вмешиваться в диалог актеров. Это обозначает, что им нужно притворяться, что они разговаривают, то есть have a conversation, разговаривают без того, чтобы вообще-то издавать любой звук. К тому же сцены танцев, то есть танцевальные сцены, часто снимаются в тишине, и музыка накладывается, то есть added in добавляется, накладывается позже. Когда сцены с толпой снималась для, получается, фильма «Jersey Girl», статистам пришлось притворяться, то есть имеется в виду, что они у нас clap, да, это у нас хлопают в ладоши, и cheer, орут, там, ура, да, подбадривают, то есть вот это вот, что им пришлось притворяться, вот это вот делать, и это все было сделано в тишине. И когда они хлопали, их, получается, руки вообще-то никогда не касались. То есть имеется в виду, они делали это беззвучно. Так, это первые два. Теперь третье. They have to put up with all kinds of weather. Как это бы перевести? Put up? Здесь имеется в виду справляться, иметь дело со всеми видами погоды. Иногда, когда зимняя сцена снимается, и все статисты, получается, на них надеты такие толстые куртки и шапки, и перчатки. Вообще-то, на самом деле, это 30 градусов, имеется в виду тепла, а снег снег фейковый, то есть снег не настоящий. Это можно определить, вот это you can tell, можно так перевести, это можно определить по, имеется в виду, слишком ли это холодно, если вы увидите дыхание, выходящее из людских ртов. К тому же, когда сцены снимаются внутри, то есть в каком-то помещении, во время лета или летом, кондиционер должен быть отключен, потому что, из-за звука, из-за шума. Не нужен там шум. Четвертое. Им приходится быть способными сохранять секреты. Что здесь? Им приходится сохранять секреты. Телефоны не разрешены на съемках, и фотографии настрого запрещены. Во время того, как фильм «Insurgent» снимался, один статист, получается, сфотографировала сцену, или имеется в виду съемки, площадку, и запостила это в сети, или имеется в виду, выложила пост с этой фотографией в сеть. С тех пор, или с того момента, ее никогда больше не нанимали в качестве статиста. То есть забанили в этом мире статистов. Так, это третье и четвертое. Дальше пятое. Они очень-очень дорогие. Несмотря на то, что extras, имеется в виду статисты, индивидуально не очень хорошо платят, то есть каждая зарплата статиста, она очень минимальная. Фильм, который нуждается во многих статистов, нуждается в большом бюджете. Вот можно сказать, производственный бюджет. Особенно в Британии. Цена статистов или стоимость статистов – это одна из причин, почему такие эпичные фильмы, как «Бен Хур», они, largely think of the past, перевести, они уже, грубо говоря, сошли на нет, или это вещь прошлого, то есть уже не в нашей эпохе, имеется в виду, больше такого не снимают. Ганди был последним. The funeral scene – это сцены похорон, в одиночку, ну, то есть имеется в виду, вот эта вот сцена нуждалась в 300 тысяч статистов. Это вот почему теперь многие британские фильмы снимаются в странах, где статистам платят меньше. Ну, например, в Восточной Европе. 6. Иногда они нереальные. Так, в наши дни, где возможно, толпы, ну, имеется в виду, делаются с помощью компьютерной графики, digitized, то есть они оцифрованы. В «Гладиаторе» они использовали 2000 живых актеров, чтобы создать, то есть имеется в виду их цифровую толпу, около 35 тысяч человек. Для некоторых сцен с толпами, в дополнение к real life extras, то есть к живым статистам, и к электронным статистам, то есть имеется в виду, которые сделаны графикой, они также используют вырезки, cutouts пусть будет вырезки, сделанные из картона. Но цифровые статисты могут выглядеть как бы не настоящими, а вот вырезки из картона или картонные статисты могут выглядеть слишком двухмерные, то есть two-dimensional — это 2D, то есть они необъемные. Особенно, то есть particularly, это вот особенно, если камера двигается. Самая последняя вещь — это надувные статисты, inflatable extras, то есть надувные, которые выглядят более реально. Они могут быть сдуты, то есть stored, скинуты в кучу, то есть где-то их можно хранить, и толпа в 10 тысяч могут уместиться в один большой грузовик и повторно использовано. Use использовать, reused, соответственно, повторно использовано. Так, это 6. И у нас остался вот такой вот кусочек 7. Давайте посмотрим. Так, they can't watch films like ordinary people. Они не могут смотреть фильмы, как обычные люди. Так, once you know, то есть однажды узнав, как фильмы снимаются, это очень тяжело просто смотреть это так же, как любой другой человек. Здесь слово like не в смысле нравится, а так же как. Я не могу смотреть телевизор больше, или имеется в виду фильмы, сериалы. Это все ТВ, это не обязательно каналы по телевизору. Несмотря на статистов, чтобы глянуть, кто из них делает все правильно, а кто делает что-то не так, сказал один статист. Так, вот такие вот статьи у нас про статистов, довольно интересные, куча много новых слов. Надеюсь, что-то теперь прояснилось и дополнилось. Ну что ж, не будем терять ни минуты, давайте двигаться дальше. Part E. Alright, Part E. This is a discussion, a chance to speak and share your ideas. So, question number 1. Do you know anybody who's been an extra? Think about it. Maybe friends, family, or perhaps even a local store in your town. I don't know. Next, what in? If you know someone, what were they in? Was it a TV show, a film, a commercial, whatever? Then a bigger question. Why do you think some people enjoy being extras? What's the main point of it? Think about it. Maybe it's the chance to be near famous actors, the stars. Or maybe it's just interesting to see how films are actually made. Or perhaps it's just, the simple experience of doing something different. I don't know, it's up to you what to say. And finally, would you like to be one? Why or why not? Think about your own personality here. Do you like long days of waiting around? Or are you a patient person? Do you like being noticed, or do you prefer to just stay in the background? I can give you a little example just from my own experience. My brother's wife, she was an extra once in a TV show. It was one of those, how to explain it, courtroom dramas, this kind where lawyers argue cases and the judge decides who is right and who is wrong. But to keep it simple, it's just a show about people solving their problems in a courtroom. And she didn't really enjoy it that much. To be honest, she said it was kind of amusing, I guess, but it wasn't worth it. She basically spent the entire day, the whole day working, and what did she get for it? She only got, I don't know, like a loaf of bread as a payment. And so, why do you think some people enjoy it? I think maybe they're just bored, or they're huge fans of films and TV, you know? For me personally, I wouldn't want to be one. As I've mentioned before in previous lessons, I'm just not a big fan of films or actors or the whole cinema industry in general. So why would I want to be an extra in something I don't really care about? I'm not against it, of course, don't get me wrong, it's just not my cup of tea, let's say it like this. Okay, now it's your turn. What do you think? Can you answer these questions yourself? All right, everyone. Now, this is a big moment. We're finally here. The passive voice. And not just the simple one, but in all its forms and tenses. This is a big step up because until now, you've only really practiced the present simple and past simple passive. So here is how we're going to tackle it today step by step. First, we are going to look at part A. Look at these 6 extracts from the text. I want you to focus on the verbs. What tense or form of the passive are they? Let's read them together. You wait and wait, but you aren't used. When a crowd scene was being filmed, but it was all done in silence. Sometimes when a winter scene is being filmed, the air conditioning has to be turned off. Since then, she has never been employed. Here are the instructions. Read each sentence and focus on the part of the verb that is in the passive voice. For example, aren't used, was being filmed, and so on. Your task is to identify the grammatical tense or form. Choose from kind of present simple, past simple, present continuous, past continuous, present perfect, or infinitive. For sentence 5 has to be turned off, that's the infinitive form. If you have no idea how passive sentences work, honestly, it's okay. Don't panic. Just try to use your language intuition, just feel it. What does it sound like? Then we'll check it together. And here are the answers just so you can see them. You wait and wait, but you aren't used. This is present simple. It describes a general fact or a repeated situation. When a crowd scene was being filmed, this is past continuous. It emphasizes an action that was ongoing in the past, in the process. But it was all done in silence. This is past simple. It describes a completed action in the past. Sometimes when a winter scene is being filmed, this is present continuous. It describes an action that is happening around now or a repeated ongoing situation. The air conditioning has to be turned off. This is the infinitive form. It follows a modal-like structure has to plus be plus past participle to express necessity. And since then she has never been employed, this is a present perfect. It connects a past action to the present, focusing on the result. Oh my god, I hope you are okay with it, but now let's move on. So, that's the plan for today's grammar. First, listen to the examples in your student's book and just pay attention to how they sound. Then, I'm going to use a file with lots of explanations and clear examples. After that, I will do a few exercises myself right there to show you exactly how this grammar works in practice. And only after all that, we'll move on to the normal grammar exercises in your English file textbook. So for now, your only job is to listen to the examples and try to understand them, or maybe translate them in your head. Okay, let's begin.
6.1 1.
A lot of films are shot on location.
When is our car being repaired?
Andy's bike has been stolen.
The director died when the film was being made.
You'll be picked up at the airport by one of our staff.
This bill must be paid tomorrow.
I love being given a massage.
2.
The new concert hall will be opened by the Queen.
Gladiator was directed by Ridley Scott.
Now let's read more information about the passive voice. What is the passive voice? It's when the subject of the sentence, don't be afraid of this word, you will understand what it means later, the subject, is not the person or thing doing the action, but is receiving the action. Example: the film was directed by Ridley Scott. Here, the focus in on the film, not Ridley Scott. So, the subject, the film, receiving the action was directed by Ridley Scott. Of course, you can say Ridley Scott directed the film. But here it's another case, it's a passive voice. Why do we use it? We don't know or don't need to say who did the action. My bike has been stolen. We don't know who stole it. We just tell this fact that it has been stolen. The action is more important than who did it. This book was written in 1985. In formal or official situations, news, signs, instructions, like many buildings were damaged in the storm. You see, it sounds strange if we say the storm damaged many buildings. No, because the focus here is on these, on many buildings. Can you avoid it? Yes, in English you can often use active voice, but passive is very common, especially in writing news and reports. If you want to understand English texts and speak naturally, you need to know it. And there is a translation tip. In some languages, passive voice is used differently or less often. Don't try to translate it word for word. Think about the meaning. What happened? To whom? And sometimes by whom. Next part. Active versus passive. Paired examples. Ridley Scott directed Gladiator. Passive. Gladiator was directed by Ridley Scott. The focus changes from the director to the film. Next. Active. They filmed the scene in Paris. Passive. The scene was filmed in Paris. We don't need to say they here. Active. Someone stole my bag. Passive. My bag was stolen. We don't know who did it. And there are a lot of examples for each passive tense. Here, pay your attention to this. Present simple passive. English is spoken here. Coffee is sold in this cafe. Letters are delivered every morning. This room is cleaned every day. Films are often subtitled for international audiences. Here you use to be MSR plus past participle. Next is past simple. The book was published last year. The window was broken yesterday. The message was sent an hour ago. The house was built in 1990. The prize was won by a teenager. Here you use was the plus past participle. Present perfect. It's our lovely tense. The car has been repaired. My keys have been found. The letter has been written. The film has already been seen by millions. The problem has been solved. Here we use has or have plus been plus past participle again. Future with will. You will be picked up at the airport. The results will be announced tomorrow. Dinner will be served at 8 p.m. The building will be finished next year. You will be contacted soon. Here we use will be, will plus be, and plus past participle. So will be picked, will be announced, will be served, and so on. Present continuous. A new road is being built near my house. Your phone is being charged now. The film is being translated into Spanish. Dinner is being prepared in the kitchen. The documents are being checked right now. Here we use MSR plus being plus past participle again. Past continuous. The house was being painted when I arrived. The film was being shot in Poland last summer. The computer was being fixed all morning. The letter was being written when the phone rang. The car was being washed when it started to rain. Yeah, it's here, it started to rain. So here we use was the plus being plus past participle again. So, short summary. To sum up, passive voice, verb be plus past participle in most cases. We use it when we focus on what happened, not who did it. It's common in English, especially in formal contexts. It may feel strange at first, but the structure is quite regular. So don't worry if it seems confusing now. Grammar like this takes practice. We'll do lots of exercises together so you can see exactly how it works, step by step. It will become much easier. You've got this. So, use the correct form of the verb in brackets. They are all in the passive voice. So, you around the city tomorrow. It will be like you will be taken around the city tomorrow. Let me highlight it. Next is melons in the south of France. It's just a present simple. It's just a fact. Fact. Melons are grown in the south of France. Again, just a present simple. Number 3. The shipbuilding industry since 1970. Look, here is the word since. It indicates that we need the present perfect here. So the ship building industry has been reduced since 1970. Here is has been reduced. Has been reduced. Next is, by the story at our last meeting, we need the past simple here. He was impressed by the story at our last meeting. He was impressed. Next is, this text must. It's a modal verb, so we use just be, infinitive or bare infinitive. The text must be translated tomorrow. Must be translated. Wait a little, your room yet. We need the present perfect. Wait a little, your room hasn't been cleaned yet. So here is hasn't been cleaned yet. Mercedes cars in Germany. We need the present simple. In just a fact. Mercedes cars are made in Germany. Are made. So to be plus past participle. The furniture, again, is a modal verb. It's the easiest situation ever, because we just write the furniture should be dusted every week. Should be dusted. Okay, next, the streets decorated at the moment. At the moment, we need the present continuous here. The streets are being decorated at the moment. Are being decorated. The translation in time. Everyone was glad. It indicates that it's just the past. The translation was done in time. The translation was done in time. Everyone was glad. Next is excite. Oh, here it sounds like an adjective. It's actually, it's a very bad example, but let it be. We were excited by her acting at her last concert. We're excited. More raw materials import in the future. And here it's like more raw materials will be imported in the future. Will be imported. 13. Your health can, again, it's a modal verb, it's an easy situation, so your health can be improved with more exercise. Can be improved. Next, the books have to, again, the same situation as we used with can, with should, with must. So the books have to be returned to the library, or must be returned, or have to be returned. Have to be returned. Okay, this week. The letters this week. Actually, you can say the letters have been sent this week, or, okay, let's see it as a future. The letters will be sent this week. Will be sent. Today, a lot of electronic goods in Asia. It's just a present simple. Just a fact. Today, a lot of electronic goods are produced in Asia. "17. The examination next Friday. It will be done. So we need just the future here. The examination will be held It's like hold, held, held. The examination will be held next Friday. Next is coal mine in Wales for centuries. For centuries. It's still true. It started in the past and it's still ongoing. So coal has been mined. We need the present perfect here. Coal has been mined in Wales for centuries. Has been mined. Where is the radio? We're asking about present situation, like ongoing situation. Where is the radio? Is it being repaired now? Is it being repaired? We need the present continuous here. Okay, so something like this. Don't worry if you still can't get the idea. We have more. So let's continue. The first one. When the telephone... when was the telephone invented? The past simple. I can't give you these articles. They are being translated now. They are being translated now. It's the present continuous. The letter write tomorrow. Okay. The letter won't be written tomorrow. Won't be written. Future. English all over the world. The present simple. English is spoken all over the world. English is spoken all over the world. She showed me the picture that I think was painted by her husband. She showed me the picture that was painted by her husband. My dress is clean now. It's the result. So we need the present perfect here. It has been washed. It has been washed. That is why it is clean now. All the questions on the paper. Must. It's an easy situation, must be answered. Again, it's a modal verb. Must be answered. These houses in the 16th century. It indicates that it is the past. These houses were built in the 16th century. Were built. 9. Tomorrow by 3 o'clock everything prepare. I think it's like tomorrow by 3 o'clock everything will be prepared. Will be prepared. Rugby plays since 1845. It's still ongoing. People are still playing it. So, rugby has been played since 1845. Has been played. It's the present perfect. My house painted the whole day yesterday. Oh, the whole day. We need to show the process of it. Like my house was being painted the whole day yesterday. Of course, if you say my house was painted the whole day yesterday, now it sounds strange, because here we say, look, it was a long process in the past. My house was being painted the whole day yesterday. Number 12. Flowers usually in the streets. It's just a fact, so I'll write flowers are usually sold in the streets. Are usually sold. The film at the next lesson. Okay, it's the future. The film will be discussed. Your essay right yet? It's a question. So it's like, has your essay been written yet? With yet, just already, I hope you remember it, we use the present perfect. so has been written. Next, it was very dark. Nothing could be seen. Nothing could be seen. Okay, what usually from milk? What is usually made from milk? It's just a present simple. I'm sure that the invitation by next Sunday will be received. Will be received by next Sunday. Wait a little. Your question is being discussed now. It's the present continuous right now. Your question is being discussed. And the UK by the Atlantic Ocean and the North Sea. Here is just usual present simple. The UK is washed by the Atlantic Ocean and the North Sea. The UK is washed by the Atlantic Ocean and the North Sea. And now look, I really hope you started getting this idea of the passive voice, how it works, how it functions. Now it's your time to practice, so let's move on to some grammar exercises. Now I'm going to translate these rules in Russian. Again, skip it if you don't need this part and go straight to grammar exercises. Итак, ребят, пассивы. Но вообще основная часть информации про пассивы должна была взяться из предыдущей части, где я показывал кучу примеров. Да, это было, конечно, все сделано через английский, но там, в принципе, благодаря тем примерам, благодаря тем упражнениям, что я делал, должна была сложиться какая-то картинка. Вообще я могу сказать, что это очень мощно вот так вот взять, вывалить пассив и дать вам все времена. В принципе, относительно тут только past perfect passive, по-моему, его не взяли. Вот, я его даже вырезал сам из примеров, чтобы не перегружать. Ну а так, в принципе, в целом здесь все времена. Давайте с чего начнем? Переведем вот эти примеры. То есть, a lot of films are shot on location. Многие фильмы, что делаются? То есть с ними. Многие фильмы снимаются на какой-то локации, на месте. When is our car being repaired? Когда наша машина чинилась? Когда она чинилась? Так, Andy's bike has been stolen. То есть велосипед Энди был украден. Так, the director died when the film was being made. Режиссер умер когда? Когда фильм снимался. То есть, когда фильм снимали или когда фильм снимался. Так, you'll be picked up at the airport by one of our staff. То есть, ты будешь забран. Это тут совсем дословный перевод. Понятно, никто так не говорит, но тебя заберут в аэропорт кто-то из наших сотрудников. Или ты будешь забран в аэропорт, или отвезен в аэропорт кем-то из наших сотрудников. This bill must be paid tomorrow. Этот счет должен быть оплачен завтра. I love being given a massage. Мне нравится, когда мне делают массаж. The new concert hall will be opened by the Queen. То есть новый концертный зал будет открыт, имеется в виду вот этой группой. Так, и Gladiator, то есть Гладиатор, был срежиссирован вот этим человеком, by Ridley Scott. То есть вот такие вот примеры. Теперь посмотрим, что нам тут предлагают по учебнику. Мы часто используем пассив, то есть это глагол to be плюс третья форма, past participle, третья форма, когда не сказано или неизвестно или не важно, кто делает действие. То есть вот велосипед Энди был украден. Кто-то украл велосипед Энди, но мы даже не знаем кто. И в принципе это не важно. В пассивных предложениях объект глагола становится новым субъектом. Это можно опустить, это имеется в виду то, что вот та вещь, на которую было направлено действие, у нас становится во главе. По сути, здесь это не сильно важно. Так, второе. Если мы хотим сказать, кто сделал это действие, мы используем предлог by, то есть сделано кем-то чем-то. В русском мы используем творительный падеж. Кем-чем это было сделано. Мы часто говорим вещи двумя способами, либо в активном, либо в пассивном. Сравните. Гладиатор был срежиссирован кем? Ридли Скоттом. Здесь мы хотим как бы сконцентрировать внимание на самом фильме. А Ридли Скотт срежиссировал «Гладиатора». То есть здесь мы хотим сфокусировать внимание больше на самого режиссера, что это именно он сделал. Так, дальше мы образуем отрицательные вопросы тем же самым способом, как и в активных предложениях, как в активном залоге. То есть некоторые фильмы aren't shot on location, некоторые фильмы не снимаются, то есть на локации, на месте, они там имеются в виду студия. Так, is your car being repaired today? А твоя машина чинится сегодня? Ну, имеется в виду, что вам эта схема должна быть уже знакома в английском языке. Если это am is are, отрицание у нас образуется, мы ставим am not, isn't, aren't. Или am is are вытаскиваем в начало. Если was were, соответственно, wasn't, weren't, was were в вопросах в начало. И так далее. То есть то, как образовывать отрицание и вопрос, это, по идее, должно быть уже интуитивно понятно. Так. Мы часто используем пассив, чтобы разговаривать о процессах, например, каких-то научных, или же на формальном языке, такие как новостные, статьи, новостные отчеты. Тогда, когда вода нагревается на 100 градусов, то есть воду нагревают, или вода нагревается кем-то, мы не знаем кем. Да тут и без разницы. Или же многие здания в городе были повреждены землетрясением. То есть, конечно, можно сказать, землетрясение повредило многие здания, но, видите, это немножко странно звучит, потому что нам и нужно-то как бы сфокусироваться на этом, то, что многие здания были повреждены. А это уже как бы добавочная информация. Чем? То есть землетрясением. Что тут важно помнить? Две буквально вещи. Первое — это то, что это немножечко будет сложноватая тема даже для intermediate, потому что, сама концепция пассивов вам может быть уже понятна. То есть что происходит, как и зачем. Но вот то, что даны все времена, так еще и какие-то моменты, где мы используем у нас, получается, инфинитив, это после модалок, или have to, has to, так еще и герундий, это после некоторых вещей, это вызовет огромное головокружение. Как лучше всего поступить? Вы также продолжаете идти по курсу. Это не первый и последний раз, когда мы вообще с пассивами сталкиваемся. Вот так вот нужно будет идти дальше по курсу, и наступит такой момент, когда вы прям будете готовы на 100% с этим разобраться, вот тогда лучше углубляться в пассивы. Пока что вы их изучаете для чего? Чтобы вы могли их определять в текстах или в аудио. Короче, чтобы они были понятны при чтении и на слух. И, в принципе, такое должно быть понимание, зачем и как. В своей же речи, чтобы их использовать, это нужно немножечко, наверное, подождать, потерпеть, со временем это придет. Это то же самое, что с артиклями. То есть, да, можно до бесконечности делать упражнения, но в речь они не запрыгнут. Также и пассивы. Можно много-много упражнений сделать, особо этой роли не сыграет. Тут главное понимание. Главное, чтобы прочесть, услышать их в аудио. И плюс-минус, чтобы этот грамматический аспект облегчал вам понимание. Что ж, давайте переходить, собственно, к упражнениям из English файла. All right, everyone, now it's time to practice. We have 2 grammar tasks for you here. The goal is simple, to help you practice choosing between active and passive verb forms, and then, of course, rewriting active sentences into passive ones. Okay, let's take a look. Part 1. Choose the correct form, active or passive. So in this part, you're going to see some incomplete sentences, right? Sentences with a blank. And for each one, you need to choose the correct verb from the 2 options that are given. Just remember the basic idea. Some sentences are in the active voice. That means the subject does the action. For example, Shakespeare wrote Hamlet. Some sentences are in the passive voice. That means the subject receives the action. For example, Hamlet was written by Shakespeare. Here is an example for you. Look at this sentence. The college, a blank, in the 16th century. And the options are built or was built. Which one do we choose? We choose the passive form, was built. Why? Because, the college, the subject, isn't doing any building. It's receiving the action. It was built by someone. So, Your job is to look at each sentence, think about who is doing what, and choose the correct form, active or passive. And then you do part 2, complete with the passive. In this section, you're given sentences in the active voice. Your task is to rewrite each one, but in the passive voice. And the meaning has to stay the same, okay? That's important. So how do we do it? Well, here is a simple strategy. First, identify the object of the active sentence. The object is the thing or person that receives the action. In the passive sentence, this object will become the new subject. It's too complicated, but okay. Then you need to use the correct form of the verb be and then add the past participle of the main verb. And finally use by, but only if it's necessary to say who did the action. If it's obvious or not important, you can leave it out. Let's look at the example. Active. People don't use this room very often. So what the object? This room. That becomes our new subject. The passive version, this room isn't used very often. Notice we didn't say by people, it's not necessary here, it's obvious, right? So that's the task. Ready? Do the exercises and then check your answers. Good luck with it. Let's take a look at the answers, so let's do it together. Exercise A. Circle the correct form, active or passive. And there is an example. The college was built in the 16th century because the college can't build anything. It's a building. It can't build, so it was built by people. Okay, the costumes for the show are being made by hand. Why that? Because the costumes can't make anything. So people make the costumes. That's why they are being made by hand. The story inspired him to make a film. Because the story did the action. It inspired him to make a film. Next is, this castle hasn't been inhabited for nearly a century. There haven't been any people there in this castle for nearly a century. Actually, this castle can't inhabit anything because I think only people or other living creatures can inhabit. For example, an island or something like this. So there is only one possible option. Hasn't been inhabited. His latest film is set in France in 1960s. The film itself can't set anything, I think. His latest film is set in France in the 1960s. Something like this. Next. The film will be shot in the autumn. Again, will be shot. Because, again, the film can't shoot anything. It's the film, it's, I don't know, an object. I think, so here it's quite obvious why the film will be shot in the autumn, so people will do it. Number 6. The actors aren't being recorded the dialogue until next week. I think they do it, or they aren't doing it. The actors aren't recording the dialogue until next week. So they are kind of the subjects who do the action. Okay, the house wasn't being used by the owners during the winter. You see here we have this preposition by, so the house wasn't being used and wasn't being used by whom? By the owners during the winter. So the house kind of is receiving the action, owners kind of are doing this action. So the house wasn't being used by the owners during the winter. By the way, it's so funny. The house wasn't using the owners. Like, is it possible? I don't know, maybe in some horror films. Next, the makeup artist has transformed, or has been transformed, the actor into a monster. Okay, the makeup artist has done the action. The actor received that action. So the makeup artist has transformed who? The actor into a monster. It's just the usual active voice. Next is they hadn't been owned the company for very long before they went bankrupt. Hadn't been owned. Oh, okay. They kind of hadn't done it to company. So they hadn't owned the company for very long before they went bankrupt. So actually, the company can't own them because it doesn't make any sense. And finally, the photo took or was taken by my husband on the balcony of our hotel. The photo was taken by whom? By my husband. Again, here is a preposition by. So by whom? By my husband. It's definitely the passive voice. The photo was taken by my husband on the balcony of our hotel. So, now let's read the answer keys. The college was built in the 19th century. The costumes for the show are being made by hand. The story inspired him to make a film. This castle hasn't been inhabited for nearly a century. His latest film is set in France in the 1960s. The film will be shot in the autumn. The actors aren't recording the dialogue until next week. The house wasn't being used by the owners during the winter. The makeup artist has transformed the actor into a monster. They hadn't owned the company for very long before they went bankrupt. The photo was taken by my husband on the balcony of our hotel. Okay, so let's take a look at the next exercise. Exercise B. So complete with the passive so that the meaning is the same, only use by if necessary. People don't use this room very often. This room isn't used very often. Okay, they subtitle a lot of foreign films. A lot of foreign films are subtitled. Actually, you can write by them, but it's not necessary here because it just affects a lot of foreign films are subtitled. So we don't need to say by whom. It's not necessary. 2. Garcia Marquez wrote Love in the Time of Cholera in 1985. Love in the Time of Cholera in 1985, I think was written by, or actually, is it so important to say by whom? By Garcia Marquez wrote. I think we can just do it like this. Love in the Time of Cholera was written in 1985. Maybe it's the main idea here. But you can add by Garcia Marquez. Someone is repairing my laptop at the moment. My laptop is being repaired at the moment. They haven't released the DVD of the film yet. The present perfect. The DVD of the film hasn't been released yet. Hasn't been released yet. They won't finish the film until the spring. The film won't be finished until the spring. You have to collect the tickets from the box office. The tickets have to be collected, I think, from the box office. I mean, should we say by whom? I don't think so. Maybe someone can do it, or you. They hadn't told the actor about the changes in the script. The past perfect passive. The actor hadn't been told about the changes in the script. Yeah, I hadn't included into explanations of the passive grammar previously. So, okay, but it's possible actually. You can use past perfect passive. Next is Damien Chazelle directed La La Land. La La Land was directed by Damien Chazelle. Number 9. They already recorded the soundtrack. The soundtrack has been already recorded. And finally, they were interviewing the director about the film. The director was being interviewed about the film. Yeah? Is it correct spelling? Interviewed? Yeah, probably. Okay, so here are the answers. People don't use this room very often. This room isn't used very often. They subtitle a lot of foreign films. A lot of foreign films are subtitled. Garcia Marquez wrote Love in the Time of Cholera in 1985. Love in the Time of Cholera was written by Garcia Marquez in 1985. Someone is repairing my laptop at the moment. My laptop is being repaired at the moment. They haven't released the DVD of the film yet. The DVD of the film hasn't been released yet. They won't finish the film until the spring. The film won't be finished until the spring. You have to collect the tickets from the box office. The tickets have to be collected from the box office. They hadn't told the actor about the changes in the script. The actor hadn't been told about the changes in the script. Damien Chazelle directed La La Land. La La Land was directed by Damien Chazelle. They've already recorded the soundtrack. The soundtrack has been already recorded. They were interviewing the director about the film. The director was being interviewed about the film. Okay, if you feel like it's not enough, so let's do another set of exercises. So I hope you're ready to get some extra grammar practice. With the passive voice, it's extremely necessary. Let's see. Additional practice, 2 more exercises. Okay. Here are some additional grammar exercises, just some extra practice to help you get really comfortable with the passive voice in different tenses. We have 2 short exercises. 1. Complete with the correct passive form. In this exercise, each sentence is incomplete. You have a verb in brackets. Your job is to write the correct passive form of that verb in the column on the right. Let's look at the example. In Beauty and the Beast, the part of Belle, you see, play in brackets, by Emma Watson. So the verb is play. And the answer, of course, was played. Something like this. An exercise to choose the correct form. Okay, this one is a bit different. You're going to read a short film description. It's called My Favorite Film, Sully. In each sentence, you will see 2 verb forms in brackets. For example, the film Sully basis or is based on a true story. Your job is to choose the correct form, active or passive, so that the whole text makes sense. Again, the key is to pay attention. Ask yourself, who is doing the action in this sentence? Is the subject doing the action or is the subject receiving the action? That will help you choose. So, there you go. These exercises are just extra practice so you can really see the passive voice in action in real contexts. Don't rush, take your time, and if you're kind of unsure about an answer, just stop and think about the meaning of the sentence. What is it trying to say? That will usually guide you to the right choice. Good luck, everyone! Okay, exercise A. Complete the sentences with the correct passive form of the verbs in brackets. Write the answers in the column on the right. In Beauty and the Beast, the part of Belle was played by Emma Watson. It was the example. Number 2. Every year, the Academy Awards ceremony by millions of people. It happens every year. The present simple, so ceremony is watched by millions of people. Just usual kind of the present simple. The scene had to, here we need infinitive, like had to be shot, because it's shoot, shot, shot. So had to be shot in the studio because of bad weather. It's the same as must be shot, had to be shot. Here is past simple, so here is the only option is had to be shot. I couldn't speak to the director because he interviewed by journalists when I arrived. If the past continuous, he was being interviewed by journalists when I arrived. Okay, the present perfect time. Has the thief been caught yet? So it's like, has the thief been caught yet? I don't think so. The police are still looking for him. Have you ever... Have you ever been told a secret that you couldn't keep? It's the present perfect. Have you ever been told a secret that you couldn't keep? This bank twice since it opened last year. Don't be confused here. It's not about past. It's not about the past, sorry. Because since last year. So it is the main word here that indicates that we need the present perfect. The bank has been robbed here. Has been robbed. So it's completely okay to say since yesterday, since last year, and so on, but here is since. We need the present perfect here. When Jack arrived at the meeting, the decision has been already made. No, I'm sorry, it's past perfect, yes, because it happened earlier than Jack arrived. So when Jack arrived at the meeting, the decision had been already made. Next is 9. Our flat is being painted at the moment. Is being painted. The present continuous. Everything is in real mess. Although Mark thought the interview had gone really well, he didn't... Oh, no, sorry, it's not he didn't offer, he Yes, he wasn't offered the job. He wasn't offered the job. When does this book have to, again, infinitive, have to be returned to the library? And when we got back to the car park, our car wasn't there. It happened earlier than this action. It had been stolen. So someone stole it before they got back to the car park. Okay, so now let's read the answer keys. In Beauty and the Beast, the part of Belle was played by Emma Watson. Every year, the Academy Award ceremony is watched by millions of people. The scene had to be shot in the studio because of bad weather. I couldn't speak to the director because he was being interviewed by journalists when I arrived. Has the thief been caught yet? I don't think so. The police are still looking for him. Have you ever been told a secret that you couldn't keep? This bank has been robbed twice since it opened last year. When Jack arrived at the meeting, the decision had been already made. Our flat is being painted at the moment. Everything's in a real mess. Although Mark thought the interview had gone really well, he wasn't offered the job. When does this book have to be returned to the library? When we got back to the car park, our car wasn't there. It had been stolen. Okay, now let's take a look at the next exercise. Part B, circle the correct form, active or passive. My favorite film, Sully. The film Sully is based on the true story of US pilot Chesley Sullenberger? Oh, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, sorry. Who is known to his friends as Sully. Because his friends know him as Sully, so who is known to his friends as Sully. Tom Hanks plays the part of Sully, because he does it, and the film was directed by Clint Eastwood, because the film can't direct anything. Okay, one freezing winter's morning, Sully flies out of LaGuardia Airport in New York, a few minutes into the flight. However, the plane by birds. So birds do it. So the plane is hit by birds. And both engines lose power. They do it. They lose power. Sully doesn't think there is enough time to return to the airport. So he lands. He does it. He lands the plane on the Hudson River near Midtown Manhattan. Amazingly, nobody is killed. So, kind of nobody kills. It's like people... Okay, that's strange actually. Nobody is killed. So, no people were killed. And all 155 people on board are rescued by nearby boats. So, nearby boats do it. So, people are rescued by nearby boats. Afterwards, however, the National Transportation Safety Board believes the accident is due to the pilot's mistake. So, they believe it. The rest of the film focuses on Sully's fight to clear his name. The film received great reviews from critics and was nominated for an Oscar. Actually, people nominated the film, so the film was nominated for an Oscar. Okay, something like this. My favorite film, Sully. The film Sully is based on the true story of US pilot Chesley Sullenberger, who is known to his friends as Sully. Tom Hanks plays the part of Sully, and the film was directed by Clint Eastwood. One freezing winter's morning, Sully flies out of LaGuardia Airport in New York. A few minutes into the flight, however, the plane is hit by birds and both engines lose power. Sully doesn't think there is enough time to return to the airport, so he lands the plane on the Hudson River near Midtown Manhattan. Amazingly, nobody is killed and all 155 people on board are rescued by nearby boats. Afterwards, however, the National Transportation Safety Board believes the accident is due to the pilot's mistake. The rest of the film focuses on Sully's fight to clear his name. The film received great reviews from critics and was nominated for an Oscar. Okay, that's all. I hope you don't find it too confusing and you at least kind of understand what the passive voice is. But you know what? It's time to move on. We still have a lot of things to do. Okay, this is a pronunciation activity with 3 parts, A, B, C. The focus is on past participles, the verb forms you need to make the passive voice. Part A, sound groups. Look at each group of past participles. The pink letters show the vowel sound in each word. And tick the groups where all the pink letters have the same sound. Or circle the one word in the group that has a different sound. For example, let's take 1. D, filmed, used, recorded, owned. So we circle recorded. It's different. It's not just D, it's id. And number 3. O, bought, caught, worn, drawn. They're all the same. So you don't circle here anything, you just tick this. Actually, it's a quite difficult task. Let's say a pronunciation challenge. When you're ready, listen, repeat, and check.
Six point 2. 1.
Dog. Duh. Filmed. Used. Recorded. Owned.
2.
Tie. T. Finished. Directed. Released. Booked.
3.
Horse. Or. Bought. Caught. Worn. Drawn.
4.
Clock. O. Shot. Gone. Lost. Done.
5.
Phone. O. Forgotten. Spoken. Stolen. Known.
6.
Egg. E. Spent. Said. Meant. Read.
7.
Train. A. Made. Paid. Taken. Fallen.
8.
Up. A. One. Put. Sung. Drunk.
9.
Fish. I. Built. Written. Driven. Given.
Part C. Listen and change to passive. You will listen to more sentences. Each sentence is in the active voice. Your task is to change it into the present or past passive as soon as you hear the cue. You hear, they shot the film in Poland. The film? You think or say, the film was shot in Poland. This format of audio exercises isn't new for you, so try to say it before you hear the correct answer. It's completely okay to pause the video if you think you don't have enough time to answer. So try to do it.
6.3. 1.
They shot the film in Poland. The film was shot in Poland.
2.
They speak English here. English. English is spoken here.
3.
They didn't employ me. I wasn't employed.
4.
He wrote his first book when he was 20. His first book. His first book was written when he was 20.
5.
They do the work by hand. The work. The work is done by hand.
6.
He drew this picture in the 15th century. This picture. This picture was drawn in the 15th century.
7.
They record the music in a studio. The music. The music is recorded in a studio.
8.
They don't use this office anymore. This office. This office isn't used anymore.
Part 4. Vocabulary, cinema. Alright, let's move on to vocabulary, and this is all about, guess what? Cinema, films. So let's dive in. Part A, guess from context. Okay, first part A. This is a vocabulary discovery task. You've already read the text back in section 1, the reading section, so now I want you to look at these 4 short sentences. They are all taken from that same article. And in each sentence, 1 or 2 words are highlighted. See them? Your job is simple. Try to guess the meaning of each highlighted word or phrase. But here's the thing. Don't use a dictionary yet. Not now. Just use the context. Look at the sentence around the word. What's happening in the sentence? What could these words mean, especially when we are talking about films? Let's read them together, yeah? A lot of that time is spent just sitting around waiting to be used in a scene. Phones aren't allowed on set. This is why now a lot of British films are being shot in Eastern Europe. The cost of extras is one of the reasons why epics, such as Ben-Hur, are largely a thing of the past. So, take a moment, think about each one. What do you think scene means? What about on set, shot, and epics? After you've made your guesses, we'll check the meaning together. And here they are, just so you can see. A scene is a part of a film in which the action happens in one place. On set means in the place where a film is being made or filmed. Shot simply means filmed. So the film was shot in Paris means it was filmed there. An epic is a long film that contains a lot of action, usually with a historical setting, like Ben-Hur or Gladiator. Okay, so that was just a warm-up, a little taste. There are 3 exercises for you that are waiting. Exercise 1. Match the kinds of films. First up, exercise 1. This one is pretty straightforward. You're going to match the kinds of films with the photos. Simple, right? The goal here is just to remember or to learn the different genres, the different types of films. I'm sure you know almost all of them already, but still, go ahead, do the matching, and then check your answers and learn the words.
.4 Cinema 1. Kinds of film. 5.
An action film.
3.
An animation.
12.
A comedy.
1.
A drama.
11.
A historical film.
6.
A horror film.
2.
A musical.
10.
A rom-com.
9.
A science fiction film.
7.
A thriller.
4.
A war film.
8.
A western.
Exercise 2. People and things in cinema. Okay, this one is about people and things in the cinema world. So, here you have a list of film-related nouns, words like cast, audience, critic, and then you have definitions next to it. For example, all the people who act in a film. Your task is to match each word from 1 to 15 to the correct definition. Use the context clues in the definitions to help you. So, for the example I just gave, cast clearly matches with all the people who act in a film. After you finish, you will listen to the audio, that's track 6.5, to check your answers and also to hear the correct pronunciation, so you can see the word and hear it at the same time. Check and learn.
.5 2. People and things. 1.
Cast. All the people who act in a film.
2.
Star. The most important actor in a film.
3.
Soundtrack. The music of a film.
4.
Plot. The story of a film.
5.
Scene. A part of a film which happens in one place.
6.
Audience. The people who watch a film in a cinema.
7.
Sequel. A film which continues the story of an earlier film.
8.
Special effects. Images often created by a computer.
9.
Trailer. A series of short scenes from a film shown in advance to advertise it.
10.
Script. The words of a film.
11.
Extra. A person who is employed to play a very small part in a film, usually as a member of a crowd.
12.
Subtitles. The translation of the dialogue of a film on screen.
13.
Review. An article which gives an opinion about a new film.
14.
Set. The place where a film is being shot. The scenery used for a film or play.
15.
Critic. A person who writes film reviews for the press.
Exercise 3. Verbs and verb phrases. And finally, exercise 3 part A. This one focuses on verbs and verb phrases. You're going to look at sentences 1 through 6. These sentences describe a film, so they use different verbs and phrases. For example, you might see is based on, or is set in, or was shot on location. Then you have meaning A through F. Your task is to match each verb or phrase from 1 to 6 to its correct meaning from A to F. Let me give you an example. I suppose imagine sentence 2 says, the film is set in New York, and meaning A says, it is situated in that place at that time. So you would match is set in with meaning A. So do the rest of the matching and then check your answers. Take your time with these exercises. There is no rush. The goal is just to get comfortable with these film words and phrases. Good luck.
Six 6.6. 3. Verbs and verb phrases. 1. E.
Is based on means is an adaptation of a true story.
2. A.
Is set in means is situated in that place at that time.
3. B.
Is directed by means he is the director.
4. C.
Plays the part of means this is his role in the film.
5. F.
Was shot on location means was filmed outside the studio.
6. D.
Is dubbed means the words are spoken in a different language by foreign actors.
Vocabulary. Here we go again. Read the film reviews and complete them with the correct words. You'll see 3 film reviews. Some words are missed. You need to complete these reviews with the correct words. They are all related to the topic of cinemas, films, etc. Do it and then check. Bill's film reviews. Dunkirk. Dunkirk is a war film directed by Christopher Nolan, set in World War II, during a particularly difficult battle and rescue mission. Nolan has used a lot of actors and extras to make this a story about many different people, so there isn't one star here. That being said, my favorite performance is definitely Tom Hardy's, as a pilot who doesn't give up, even when his plane has crashed. It's a very exciting film, scary at times and definitely violent, so I wouldn't recommend it for all ages. The soundtrack, composed by Hans Zimmer, is really intense, and Zimmer has done an amazing job of making the music the perfect background for all the different stories. I will say that having so many characters made the plot very complicated, and that made Dunkirk very difficult to follow. All in all, I enjoyed Dunkirk, and I would definitely recommend it. Wonder Woman. I'd been looking forward to Wonder Woman since I saw the trailer earlier this year. It didn't disappoint me. One of the big problems with an action film is that normally there are a lot of special effects, and all the digital stuff can make films look a bit silly and unreal. In this case, however, the script is so well written that even the explosions in the superhero costumes didn't annoy me. Gal Gadot plays Diana. They never call her Wonder Woman, a heroine who leaves her perfect island to help humans during World War II. Here, Wonder Woman becomes more of a historical film, and Diana finds the way men treat her very strange. This creates a lot of funny moments. My favorite scene is one in which Diana complains about long skirts being really impractical to fight in. Diana tries to be both strong and kind, as she and her friends search for Ares, the god of war. The film studio has confirmed that there will be a sequel to Wonder Woman, and I can't wait to see it. Seven Samurai. I had read only good things from critics about Akira Kurosawa's classic film Seven Samurai, so I was very excited to finally watch it. I watched it in Japanese with English subtitles because I don't think it has been dubbed into English. I was very surprised by this film. It isn't a comedy, but it has some very funny moments. I think I imagined it was going to be boring drama, and instead, it was moving and beautiful. Seven Samurai is set in Japan in 1586 and tells the story of 7 warriors who decide to defend a village against thieves. At first, they do it for money, but then they get to know the people in the village and they really care about them. Each character is very different, but they all become good friends, and the cast do a really good job of showing you the change in their relationships. Even if you don't like old films or films in black and white, I think this one of those special films that everyone should watch. One more task to do. Explain the difference between these pairs of words and phrases: a plot and a script, a horror film and a thriller, a musical and a soundtrack, the cast and the stars, a dubbed film and a film with subtitles, the set of a film and the film was set in, a critic and a review. Now, let's clarify the meaning of some similar sounding film words. You see 7 pairs of words or phrases that are related to cinema. Your task is to explain the difference between the 2 words in each pair. Think about what each word refers to. You can write short definitions or give examples. I don't know, for example, a plot is the story of the film. What happens? A script is the written text with all the words the actors say. Can you just continue this way? Okay, so here are the answers, just so you can check your ideas. 1. A plot and a script. A plot is a story of a film, what happens. A script is the words of a film, the dialogue, the written text. Next pair. A horror film and a thriller. A horror film is designed to frighten people, to scare you. Lots of fear, shock, sometimes blood. A thriller, on the other hand, has an exciting story, often about crime or suspense. It keeps you on the edge of your seat, but not necessarily with monsters or ghosts. A musical and a soundtrack. A musical is a type of film where, part or even all of the story is told using songs and often dancing. Something like that. And a soundtrack is the music from a film. It's the audio recording that people can buy and listen to separately. Next is the cast and the stars. The cast is all the people who act in a film, every single actor. The stars are the most important actors in a film, the famous ones, the leads. A dubbed film and a film with subtitles. In a dubbed film, the actors' original voices have been replaced, usually by foreign actors speaking another language. You hear the new voice, not the original actor. In a film with subtitles, the actors' original voices stay the same. You can still hear them, but the words are translated into different language and appears as a text on the screen at the bottom. The set of a film and the film was set in. The set of a film is a physical place. It is the location where the filming is actually happening, where the actors are standing, where the cameras are. When we say the film was set in somewhere, we are talking about the story. The story of the film happened in that place and at that time. For example, the film was set in 19th century London. A critic and a review. A critic is a person who writes about films, books, restaurants, etc., usually for a newspaper or website. A review is the thing they write. It's the article which gives an opinion about a film, a book, or a restaurant. Alright, something like that. Good. Now, I think let's move on. Part 5. Listening. Read about the film Schindler's List. Have you seen it? If yes, did you like it? If no, would you like to see it? What other Spielberg films have you seen and enjoyed? Okay, let's read it. Schindler's List is a 1993 historical epic directed by Steven Spielberg. The film is based on the true story of Oskar Schindler, a Czech businessman who saved the lives of more than 1,000 Polish Jewish refugees during the Second World War. The film was shot in black and white. It stars Liam Neeson, Ralph Fiennes, and Ben Kingsley. It is often listed among the greatest films ever made, and it won 7 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director. Whoa, I will leave it completely for you. I haven't watched this film and I have little knowledge about Spielberg. Look at the pictures. If you have watched it, try to remember something from this film. If you haven't, try to at least understand the context and main ideas of this film. Be ready just to say something. Next part. Look at the 2 photos carefully. Photo 1, black and white. Look at Dagmara Valkovic and Steven Spielberg. Think about, where are they? What kind of place does it look like? What do you think Dagmara is doing? Okay, just look at the photos and discuss, and then listen to check your ideas.
6.7. Part 1.
So, tell me, how did you get involved in the film, Dagmara?
Well, as you probably know, Schindler's List was shot in Kraków, in Poland, which is where I live. I was a university student at the time, studying English. And the film company set up their production office here 3 months before they started shooting the film, and I got a job there as a production assistant, preparing and translating documents and the script.
But how did you get the job as Steven Spielberg's interpreter?
Well, it was a complete coincidence. Just before the shooting started, there was a big party in one of the hotels in Kraków for all the actors and the film crew, and I was invited too. When I arrived at the party, the Polish producer of the film came up to me and said, "The woman who was going to interpret for Steven Spielberg can't come, so we need you to interpret his opening speech."
How did you feel about that?
I couldn't believe it. I was just a student. I had no experience of interpreting, and now I was going to speak in front of hundreds of people. I was so nervous that I drank a couple of glasses of champagne to give myself courage. I must have done a pretty good job, though, because soon afterwards, Spielberg came up to me to say thank you, and then he said, "I'd like you to be my interpreter for the whole film." I was so stunned, I had to pinch myself to believe that this was happening to me.
So the ideas are, they were on the set of Schindler's List, Dagmara was interpreting for Spielberg. So, in the black and white photo, she was interpreting, kind of translating, for Spielberg, helping him communicate with Polish actors and crew. That's here what it is. Now part C. Listen again and mark the sentences true or false. Correct the false sentences. 1. When the film company came to Krakow, Dagmara was working as a teacher. 2. She got a job doing translations for them. 3. There was a party at the hotel to celebrate Spielberg's birthday. 4. Spielberg's interpreter was late. 5. Dagmara was very nervous, so she drank a bottle of champagne to give herself courage. 6. Spielberg was very pleased with the way she did her job. Okay, so some notes. When we make notes, we only write down keywords. For example, we write film set every day. Not like she had to go to the film set every day. No, just some key vocabulary. So, to summarize, listen to part 1 of the interview again carefully. You will see 6 sentences about Dagmara's story. Actually, you can see them right now. Your task is to read each sentence and decide is it true or false according to the interview. If a sentence is false, you must correct it. And pay close attention to details like jobs, events, numbers, and reasons. Also, read the making notes tip. When you listen, try to write only keywords, like film set every day, not full sentences. This helps you listen for meaning without writing too much. Okay, ready? Listen carefully, mark true or false, and correct the false ones.
6.7. Part 1.
So, tell me, how did you get involved in the film, Dagmara?
Well, as you probably know, Schindler's List was shot in Kraków, in Poland, which is where I live. I was a university student at the time, studying English. And the film company set up their production office here 3 months before they started shooting the film, and I got a job there as a production assistant, preparing and translating documents and the script.
But how did you get the job as Steven Spielberg's interpreter?
Well, it was a complete coincidence. Just before the shooting started, there was a big party in one of the hotels in Kraków for all the actors and the film crew, and I was invited too. When I arrived at the party, the Polish producer of the film came up to me and said, "The woman who was going to interpret for Steven Spielberg can't come, so we need you to interpret his opening speech."
How did you feel about that?
I couldn't believe it. I was just a student. I had no experience of interpreting, and now I was going to speak in front of hundreds of people. I was so nervous that I drank a couple of glasses of champagne to give myself courage. I must have done a pretty good job, though, because soon afterwards, Spielberg came up to me to say thank you, and then he said, "I'd like you to be my interpreter for the whole film." I was so stunned, I had to pinch myself to believe that this was happening to me.
Let's check. 1. Actually, it's false. She was a student. Remember, she says, I was a university student at the time studying English. Number 2, it's true, she got a job doing translations. She says, yeah, I got a job there as a production assistant preparing and translating documents in the script. Number 3 is false. It was a party for all the actors and the crew. She says, just before the shooting started, there was a big party in one of the hotels in Kraków for all the actors and the film crew, and I was invited too. Sentence 4 is false. The interpreter couldn't come. Yeah, she says, the woman who was going to interpret for Steven Spielberg can't come. And 5, it's false. She drank a couple of glasses. As she says, I drank a couple of glasses of champagne to give myself courage. It's not a bottle. And number 6, Spielberg was very pleased. She says, Spielberg came up to me to say thank you, and then he said, I'd like you to be my interpreter for the whole film. So this implies he was pleased with your work. Part D. Now listen to 3 extracts from part 2 of the interview. Complete the gaps with the key words. I think the task is clear. Just do it, listen and check and repeat, and practice saying them out loud.
6.8. 1.
I had to go to the film set every day and translate Spielberg's instructions to the Polish actors and also to the extras.
2.
It was really exciting, and I often felt as if I was a director myself.
3.
The worst thing was when we had to shoot a scene again and again because Spielberg thought it wasn't exactly right.
6.8. 1.
I had to go to the film set every day and translate Spielberg's instructions to the Polish actors and also to the extras.
2.
It was really exciting, and I often felt as if I was a director myself.
3.
The worst thing was when we had to shoot a scene again and again because Spielberg thought it wasn't exactly right.
You're now going to listen to the whole of part 2. Read the questions, then listen and write down some of the key words. Okay, read the 6 questions carefully and make sure you understand what each one is asking. Then you listen to the whole part of interview, part 2. While you listen, write down keywords or short notes next to each question to help you remember the answers. And remember the note-taking tip, only write important words, not full sentences. Then use your notes to answer the 6 questions in full sentences. Okay, but before, let's read them together. How many times were some scenes repeated? How did that make Dagmara feel? Why did Spielberg start shouting at her, not shooting here? Yes, shouting. It's make his voice louder. What happened after that? In general, how did Spielberg treat her? What example does she give? It means like, was he hard on her? Was he okay with her? Or maybe he was good to her, and so on. Number 4. What scenes was she going to appear in as an extra? Why did she not appear in the final version of the film? 5. Did she ever work with Spielberg again? And 6. What offer did Spielberg make to Dagmara? Does she regret not accepting it? Okay, it's a difficult job. Concentrate, listen, and answer.
6.9. Part 2.
So, what exactly did you have to do?
I had to go to the film set every day and translate Spielberg's instructions to the Polish actors and also to the extras. I had to make them understand what he wanted them to do. It was really exciting, and I often felt as if I was a director myself.
So, was it a difficult job?
Sometimes it was really hard. The worst thing was when we had to shoot a scene again and again because Spielberg thought it wasn't exactly right. Some scenes were repeated as many as 16 times, and then sometimes I would think that maybe it was my fault, that I hadn't translated properly what he wanted, so I'd get really nervous. I remember one scene with lots of actors in it, which we just couldn't get right, and Spielberg started shouting at me because he was stressed. Eventually, we got it right, and then he apologised, and I cried a little because I was also very stressed. And after that, it was all right again.
So, was Spielberg difficult to work with?
Not at all. I mean, he was very demanding. I had to do my best every day. But he was really nice to me. I felt he treated me like a daughter. For instance, he was always making sure that I wasn't cold. It was freezing on the set most of the time. And he would make sure that I had a warm coat and gloves and things.
Did you ever get to be an extra?
Yes, twice. I was going to be in 2 party scenes, and I got to wear beautiful long dresses and high heels. Unfortunately, one scene didn't make it to the final cut of the film, and before we started shooting the other one, I tripped walking down some stairs and twisted my ankle really badly. I was in so much pain that I couldn't take part in the filming. And that was the end of my acting career. I still have the photos of me looking like a girl from the 40s, though.
Have you ever worked with Spielberg again?
Yes. A year later, he invited me to interpret for him again, this time during the premiere of Schindler's List in Poland, which was broadcast live on national television. Before that, he had also asked me to come to work as a production assistant on his next movie in Hollywood. I was very tempted and thought really hard about it, but I hadn't finished my studies yet, and all my family and friends were in Poland, so in the end, I decided not to go.
Oh. Do you regret it?
Not at all. I had my moment, and it was unforgettable, but that was it.
Let's check it. How many times were some scenes repeated? Some scenes were repeated 16 times. How did that make Dagmara feel? It made Dagmara think it was her fault, and it made her nervous. Why did Spielberg start shouting at her? He was stressed. What happened after that? He apologized. She cried a little. All was right again. Next, number 3. In general, how did Spielberg treat her? What example does she give? Actually, he was quite demanding, but he was also really nice. He treated her like a daughter. It was freezing on set. He made sure she had a warm coat and gloves. What scenes was she going to appear in as an extra? Why did she not appear in the final version of the film? 2 party scenes. One scene didn't make the final cut, and before the other scene, she tripped, twisted her ankle, and was in pain. 6. What offer did Spielberg make to Dagmara? Does she regret not accepting it? He offered her work as his production assistant for his next movie in Hollywood. Actually, she doesn't regret it. Okay, I hope you haven't lost your motivation to continue. Now let's move on. I think it's time to translate these scripts to hunt for some vocabulary, but first listen to everything one more time and read the script at the same time. Then I'm going to translate it.
6.7. Part 1.
So, tell me, how did you get involved in the film, Dagmara?
Well, as you probably know, Schindler's List was shot in Kraków, in Poland, which is where I live. I was a university student at the time, studying English. And the film company set up their production office here 3 months before they started shooting the film, and I got a job there as a production assistant, preparing and translating documents and the script.
But how did you get the job as Steven Spielberg's interpreter?
Well, it was a complete coincidence. Just before the shooting started, there was a big party in one of the hotels in Kraków for all the actors and the film crew, and I was invited too. When I arrived at the party, the Polish producer of the film came up to me and said, "The woman who was going to interpret for Steven Spielberg can't come, so we need you to interpret his opening speech."
How did you feel about that?
I couldn't believe it. I was just a student. I had no experience of interpreting, and now I was going to speak in front of hundreds of people. I was so nervous that I drank a couple of glasses of champagne to give myself courage. I must have done a pretty good job, though, because soon afterwards, Spielberg came up to me to say thank you, and then he said, "I'd like you to be my interpreter for the whole film." I was so stunned, I had to pinch myself to believe that this was happening to me.
6.9. Part 2.
So, what exactly did you have to do?
I had to go to the film set every day and translate Spielberg's instructions to the Polish actors and also to the extras. I had to make them understand what he wanted them to do. It was really exciting, and I often felt as if I was a director myself.
So, was it a difficult job?
Sometimes it was really hard. The worst thing was when we had to shoot a scene again and again because Spielberg thought it wasn't exactly right. Some scenes were repeated as many as 16 times, and then sometimes I would think that maybe it was my fault, that I hadn't translated properly what he wanted, so I'd get really nervous. I remember one scene with lots of actors in it, which we just couldn't get right, and Spielberg started shouting at me because he was stressed. Eventually, we got it right, and then he apologised, and I cried a little because I was also very stressed. And after that, it was all right again.
So, was Spielberg difficult to work with?
Not at all. I mean, he was very demanding. I had to do my best every day, but he was really nice to me. I felt he treated me like a daughter. For instance, he was always making sure that I wasn't cold. It was freezing on the set most of the time. And he would make sure that I had a warm coat and gloves and things.
Did you ever get to be an extra?
Yes, twice. I was going to be in 2 party scenes, and I got to wear beautiful long dresses and high heels. Unfortunately, one scene didn't make it to the final cut of the film, and before we started shooting the other one, I tripped walking down some stairs and twisted my ankle really badly. I was in so much pain that I couldn't take part in the filming. And that was the end of my acting career. I still have the photos of me looking like a girl from the 40s, though.
Have you ever worked with Spielberg again?
Yes. A year later, he invited me to interpret for him again, this time during the premiere of Schindler's List in Poland, which was broadcast live on national television. Before that, he had also asked me to come to work as a production assistant on his next movie in Hollywood. I was very tempted and thought really hard about it, but I hadn't finished my studies yet, and all my family and friends were in Poland, so in the end, I decided not to go.
Oh. Do you regret it?
Not at all. I had my moment, and it was unforgettable, but that was it.
Ну что же, поехали переводить. Итак, расскажи мне, как ты вообще попала в фильм Дагмара? То есть get involved, как тебя туда вовлекли или как ты вообще попала в этот фильм? Ну, как вы, возможно, уже наверняка знаете, Schindler's List или список Шиндлера был заснят в Кракове, в Польше. Это то место, где я живу, ну, в которой я живу в этой стране. Я была студентом университета в это время, изучала английский. И, то есть, компания, вот этот film company, set up their production office, то есть, имеется в виду здесь, ну, как бы обустроила или построила временно, ну, обустроила их офис здесь за 3 месяца до того, как они начали съемки фильма. И я получила там работу as a production assistant, ну, помощник, получается, по разным вещам фильма. Ну, по сути, помощника. То есть preparing and translating, то есть подготавливая и переводя документы и сюжет. The script. Ну, или сценарий. Нет, не сюжет, сценарий. Так. Но как вы получили работу переводчика Стивена Спилберга? Это было полное совпадение. Прямо как только съемки начались, там была большая вечеринка, ну или просто была большая вечеринка в одном из отелей в Кракове для всех актеров и съемочной команды. И я была приглашена тоже. Когда я прибыла на вечеринку, то есть, получается, продюсер из Польши фильма подошел ко мне и сказал, женщина, которая должна была, ну или собиралась переводить для Стивена Спилберга, не может прийти. Поэтому мы нуждаемся, ну или нам нужно, чтобы ты перевела его opening speech, ну, это речь на открытие, это начальная, то есть он, грубо говоря, скажет речь перед всеми в самом начале, ну, или речь открытия. Так, ну и каково это было, или как вы себя чувствовали насчет этого всего? Я не могла поверить. Я была просто студенткой, у меня не было опыта переводов. Interpreting — это, кстати, устный перевод. И теперь я собиралась говорить, ну, или должна была говорить перед сотнями, ну, перед толпой, перед сотнями людей. Я так нервничала, или была такой нервничающей, что я выпила пару, получается, стаканов шампанского, чтобы, ну, придать себе уверенности. Courage — это уверенность, смелость. И, должно быть, я сделала хорошую работу, потому что после этого, soon afterwards, то есть вот после того события, как только это совершилось, soon — это вскоре, после этого Спилберг подошел ко мне и сказал спасибо. И затем он сказал, я хочу, чтобы вы были моим переводчиком на целый фильм. Я была так ошеломлена, то есть stunned — это ошеломлена. Мне пришлось так pinch myself, то есть ущипнуть себя, чтобы поверить, что это реально случилось со мной или происходило со мной. Здесь вот такая вот часть. Теперь вторая. Так, а что вам вот в точности приходилось делать? Мне приходилось ходить на съемки каждый день и переводить инструкции Спилберга польским актерам и, ну, тоже этим статистам. Мне приходилось, то есть, удостовериваться, что они понимают, что он хотел, ну, чтобы они сделали. То есть мне приходилось делать так, чтобы они поняли, что он хотел, и, ну, чтобы они сделали. Это было очень прикольно, и я часто чувствовала, как будто я сама режиссер. Ну, была ли это сложная работа? Иногда это было очень сложно. Самая худшая вещь это было, когда нам пришлось снимать сцену снова и снова, потому что Спилберг думал, она не точно такая, как должна быть. Ну, она не совсем та, что ему нужна. Некоторые сцены были повторены так много... as many, то есть даже аж целых, можно так, 16 раз. И потом иногда я вот думала, что, может быть, это была моя ошибка, it was my fault. То есть, может быть, это моя ошибка, что я не перевела так, как нужно. То есть, properly это необходимо, так, как он хотел. Поэтому я становилась, собственно, начинала нервничать. Я помню одну сцену с множеством актеров в этой сцене, которую мы не могли, couldn't get right, не могли сделать все как положено, как правильно. И Спилберг начал кричать на меня, потому что, он был взволнован на тот момент. В конце концов, we got it right, то есть мы засняли все верно, и затем он извинился, а я плакала чуть-чуть поплакала, потому что, мне это тоже было все очень стрессово, то есть как-то так она говорит, очень сильно была взволнована. И после этого всего все было в порядке снова. Так, дальше. Итак, а Спилберг был сложным человеком, с которым работать? Не, вовсе нет. Я имею в виду, он был, конечно, требовательный, demanding, требовательный. Мне пришлось выкладываться на все 100% каждый день, то есть делать все, что от меня зависит. Но он был очень добр ко мне. Я чувствовал, как будто он относился ко мне как к дочке. Например, он всегда удостоверился, что я не замерзла. То есть, допустим, это было холодно на съемках большинство времени, и он мог удостовериться, что у меня всегда была теплое пальто или куртка, и перчатки, и все остальное, чтобы согреться. Так, did you ever get to be an extra? То есть, а вам пришлось побыть статистом? Да, 2 раза. То есть, получается, я собиралась, или я должна была быть в 2 сценах вечеринок, и мне пришлось надеть, получается, красивые длинные платья и высокие каблуки. High heels, высокие каблуки. К несчастью, одна сцена так didn't make it to the final cut of the film. Имеется в виду, одна сцена так и не вышла в полную сборку фильма. То есть не вышла в релиз. Нет, какой релиз? Что я говорю? Одна сцена так и не смогла дойти до финальной сборки фильма. Или монтажа фильма. И прежде чем мы начали снимать другую, я споткнулась, то есть споткнулась, когда спускалась по лестнице и подвернула свою лодыжку очень сильно. То есть у меня было так много боли, или это было так больно, что я не могла, принять участие в съемках. И это был конец моей актерской карьеры. Но я все еще имею фотографии, как я выгляжу как девушка из 40-х. Хотя. Дальше. Have you ever worked with Spielberg again? А вы после этого работали со Спилбергом снова? Да, годом позже или годом спустя он пригласил меня переводить для него снова. И в это время, в этот раз во время премьеры «Списка Шиндлера» в Польше, которая, вещалась, broadcast live, которая была транслировалась, вещалась на национальном телевидении. Перед этим он тоже попросил меня прийти, поработать, в качестве помощника на его следующий фильм в Голливуд. I was very tempted. Я очень была соблазнена, это было все очень соблазнительно, и думала очень сильно над этим, размышляла. Но я на тот момент пока еще не закончила свою учебу, и вся моя семья и друзья были в Польше. Поэтому, в конце концов, я решила туда не идти. Do you regret it? То есть вы сожалеете об этом? Нет, вовсе нет. I had my moment, имеется в виду, я получила то, что мне нужно, то есть вот этот опыт и так далее, и это было незабываемо. Но that was it. Имеется в виду, все, на этом хватит. То есть великолепный опыт, но повторять она его, видимо, не хочет. Ну что ж, вот такие вот были аудиозаписи. Надеюсь, стало теперь немножко понятнее, о чем была речь. Да, проскакивали несколько слов, с которыми можно было перед этим всем поработать. Что имеем, то имеем. Так, давайте двигаться. Part H. Discussion time. Okay, we're almost at the end of this reading part, but before we finish, I have a question for you. Actually, 2 questions. Let's look at Part H. Would you like to have done Dagmara's job? being an interpreter on a film set working with a famous director? And second, do you think she made the right decision in the end? Think about it for a moment. What would you have done in her situation? So here is my take on it, okay? Just my opinion, of course. That's a tough question to answer, honestly. I've always thought that working as an interpreter would be, well, a real challenge. Difficult, but at the same time, a truly exciting job. It sounds like a great adventure, doesn't it? Being in the middle of all that action. So, looking back, if I think about it, if I had been a student at her age back then, I think I would have taken that job in a heartbeat. Absolutely, no questions. But things change, right? At this point in my life, right now, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure I would want to bring that kind of extra stress into my daily routine. Life is busy enough as it is. And as for her decision, the choice she made at the end, I believe she followed her heart. It means when you do what feels right to you, it's usually the right choice. For you, anyway. So that's what I think. But how about you? What do you think? Would you have taken the job? Discuss it. Part 6, speaking. Alright, we made it. This is a speaking section, and this is your chance to actually talk, to use some of the vocabulary and grammar we've been practicing. So here's what we're going to do. First, in part A, I want you to read through this cinema interview. It's a list of questions about films, about your film watching habits, and as you read, think about your own answers. Think about your reasons. What would you say? Now I'm going to go through the interview myself, just to give you an example. I'll be honest with you, this might be a bit tough for me, but I'll give it a try. And then, after that, it will be your turn. The cinema interview. Question 1. Can you think of a film you've seen which was incredibly funny? Okay, first one. Honestly, I can't remember a film that made me laugh, like really, really hard, like ha 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 ha. I mean, I've watched a lot of silly American comedies over the years, the kind where the humor is just so awkward and so over the top that you laugh just because it's so ridiculous. Not funny, it's ridiculous, really. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say the American Pie series, especially the first one. It's really the only comedy title I can clearly remember, so let's go with that. Next is Made You Feel Good. This is a tricky one for me because I don't usually watch films just to, feel good. I tend to prefer something more emotional, more moving, but there is one film that comes to my mind. It's Goodbye Christopher Robin. It's about the creator of Winnie the Pooh. And look, the film itself isn't a masterpiece or anything of the sort, but I watched it in the cinema with a really good friend, and we watched it in English, and we just had a really nice time together. So that whole experience, the whole memory, that's what made me feel good. Okay, had a very sad ending. This one's tricky for me as well, because honestly I don't remember film endings very well. Generally speaking, though, I don't mind sad endings. I think they can sometimes feel more realistic, If I absolutely have to pick one, maybe a horror film, The Possession of Michael King from 2014. That one comes to my mind. But mostly I'm picking it because I can't think of a truly emotional drama with a clear sad ending right now. Sorry. Okay, you've seen several times. Oh, this one is easy. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'm not what you would call a superfan, but I've always enjoyed fantasy worlds. Elves, dwarves, magic, fireballs, and games and stuff. And this film trilogy, it still feels like the best fantasy ever made. It's got a great mix, kind of slow character moments and then really exciting action at the end. You never get tired of it. So yeah, definitely a series I've rewatched. Next is Sent You to Sleep. Okay, this one is easy too. Swiss Army Man, I remember this film. A friend chose it, so I felt like I had to watch it, and I didn't understand it at all. Maybe I was too young, I don't know, but it was just bad. I was genuinely close to falling asleep. And had a memorable soundtrack. Easy. Star Wars. Whenever I hear that main theme, that iconic music, so many scenes and moments just come rushing back. Yeah, for me, it's one of the most memorable soundtracks ever. Honestly, I can't think of another one that sticks in my mind so clearly. So, Star Wars wins, hands down. Let's move on. Question 2. Do you prefer seeing films at home or in the cinema? I definitely prefer watching films at home. I never feel truly relaxed in a cinema. You're always worrying about kind of your things, there are other people around making noise. It's just not comfortable for me. Plus, I have this strange way of watching films. I skip a lot. I just watch the important scenes. Like click, 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 and so on. So my brain somehow, it just knows what's filler and what's a key moment. So I can watch a 2-hour film in like half an hour. And you just can't do that in a cinema. Next is, do you prefer seeing American films, other foreign films, films from your own country? For me, it really doesn't matter where a film is from. Honestly, I judge a film by its story, by its characters, but not by the country that made it. Seeing foreign films dubbed or with subtitles. I used to watch dubbed versions all the time, but since I started learning English seriously, I've completely switched. Now I much prefer watching in the original language. I only watch films in English now. Partly because, it feels like it's not a waste of time. Like, I'm not just watching, I'm practicing my listening skills while I'm being entertained. It's a win-win situation. Something like that. Okay, question 3. Tell me about a really good film you've seen in the last year. Wow, okay. I actually had to watch something specifically for this lesson, just so I could give you a good example. And the film I chose was The Shawshank Redemption. I had heard so much about this film for years, people always talk about it, so I finally decided to give it a try. And I'm kind of glad I did, because now I can use it as an example for you, to show you what to say and how to say, so to speak. So let me walk you through it. What kind of film is it? It's a drama, pure drama. It has some lighter moments, of course, for sure, but at its core, at its heart, I think it's a film that makes you care deeply about the characters. You really feel their struggles, their pain, and their hope. Is it based on a book or on a real event? It's actually based on a novella by Stephen King. If I'm not mistaken, it's called Rita Hayworth in Shawshank Redemption. I haven't read it myself, to be honest. I'm not a huge Stephen King fan. Sometimes his writing style feels a bit like commercial. Yeah, it's a good word, commercial. But I know millions of people absolutely love his work, so it's okay. Where and when is it set? I think almost the entire story takes place in Shawshank State Penitentiary. It's a fictional prison in Maine, USA, and the story starts in 1947. and it follows the characters over nearly 20 years, ending around 1966 or 1967. Who stars in it? Who is directed by? The main stars are Tim Robbins, he plays Andy Dufresne, and Morgan Freeman, who plays his friend Red. Red is also the narrator, he tells the story, and the film was directed by Frank Darabont. Next. Does it have a good plot? Yes, absolutely. It's famous for its excellent plot. It's a deep, thoughtful story about kind of hope, friendship, and patience, all set in a really cruel and unfair place. The plot is clever and it's really kind of well-paced. It takes its time to build the characters and the world, and that's exactly why the ending feels so powerful. Does it have a good soundtrack? From what I remember, yes. The music is good, but it's not distracting, I would say. It just supports the mood really well. There is also a beautiful opera piece in one very famous scene. It's a powerful moment. And why do you like it? I like it because I don't actually like it. Okay, it feels balanced. Life can be incredibly hard. Sometimes situations seem completely impossible, right? Like you have no way to go out. But this film shows that if you're smart, if you're patient, if you don't just act on impulse, you can create a future for yourself. Maybe not a perfect future, but a future worth living for. Oh. Alright, so that was my attempt. Now it's your turn. And I really hope you have even more to say than I did. Go for it. Do this interview. Writing part. A. Read the description of a film and complete the gaps with a word from the list. Action, directed, filmed, nominated, recommend, set, soundtrack, special effects, stars. Okay, first read the short film description. There are missing words in the text. You can see them on the screen. Choose the correct word from the list to complete each gap, and each word is used only once, so I think the task is clear. Then check yourself, of course. The Force Awakens 2015. The Force Awakens is the seventh film in the Star Wars saga, created by George Lucas. The film was directed by J.J. Abrams. It stars John Boyega as Finn, Daisy Ridley as Rey, and Harrison Ford as Han Solo. It was nominated for 5 Oscars in 2016, but it didn't win any. The film is set a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It was filmed in the UK, Ireland, and Abu Dhabi. The story begins 30 years after the events of Star Wars Episode VI: Return of the Jedi. Finn, a stormtrooper, leaves the evil organization called the First Order. He follows a little robot, BB-8, who has information about how to find Luke Skywalker, a Jedi who can use a special energy called the Force. Finn and BB-8 are helped by a young woman called Rey, and together they escape and find Han Solo, a space pilot, and his alien friend, Chewbacca. They help Finn and Rey in their search for Skywalker and their mission to destroy the First Order's new superweapon. I strongly recommend The Force Awakens. It has action, drama, a great soundtrack, and a good plot. But above all, amazing special effects. I think I will always prefer the classic Star Wars films, because I watched them when I was young. But I loved this film too. Part B. Read the description again and number the paragraphs in order 1 to 4. So the plot, the name of the film, the director, the stars and any prizes it won, why you recommend the film, where and when it is set, where it was filmed. Okay, read the film description again. This time focus on the 4 different paragraphs and what each one contains. Your task is to number the paragraphs from 1 to 4 according to the correct order they should appear in a film review. Use the description in the table to help you match each paragraph to its content. I think something like that. Try. Part C. Identify the tense. Now look carefully at paragraph 3, the one that describes the plot of the film. What verb tense is used to tell the story or plot of the film? Think about, is it past, present, or future tense? So actually we use the present simple tense when we tell the story or describe the plot of a film, book or play, even if the story happened in the past. Why is it so? Because when we talk about a story, we treat it as something that is always true inside that fictional world. Every time someone watches a film or reads a book, the events happen in the same way. For example, in The Shawshank Redemption, Andy is wrongly sent to prison. He becomes friends with Red, and together they face many challenges. If we used the past tense, Andy was sent, he became friends, it would sound like we're talking about a real past event that happened only once. But a film story exists outside of time. It's always the same whenever we watch it. So remember, use the present simple to tell a story from a book or a film, because you're describing what always happens in that story. Part D. Have you seen The Force Awakens? If yes, do you agree with the review? If no, does the review make you want to see it? Describing a film. It was directed, written by. It is based on a true story, the book. It stars. It is set in. It was filmed in. The film is about. In the end, I strongly recommend the film because. Okay, some questions to think about and some vocabulary to learn before the final writing task. Copy it to your notebook and say something about the questions. Now it's your turn to write your own film review about a film you would recommend. Step 1. Plan. Plan your review. Before you start writing, think about the film you want to describe. Plan what you'll put in each of the 4 paragraphs, using the notes from Part B as your guide. So first, introduce a film. Name, director, main actors, any words, whatever. Number 2, paragraph. Say where and when the story takes place and where it was filmed. Number 3, describe the plot. Use present simple tense. And finally, explain why you recommend the film. And step 2, of course, write. Use kind of useful language from the describing a film box and the cinema vocabulary bank to make your review clear and interesting. And by the way, if you're not sure how to start, you can use the example text from the book as a model. Just copy the structure and change the details like title, actors, plot, etc. to fit your chosen film. By the way, that's a great way to begin. And then just check. When you finish, just read your review again, check for grammar mistakes and vocabulary, punctuation, spelling. Remember that there are certain ways how to check it. But remember one thing, this writing task is optional. But, it's a fun and useful way to practice your English. Writing a film review helps you remember vocabulary, use grammar in real context and share your opinion, so why not give it a try? But anyway, if you're ready for this, pick a film you love and kind of write about it. Now let's take a look at your homework tasks and what to do in your workbook. Теперь информация для тех, кто ищет разборы рабочих тетрадей, там, где выполнены все задания и даны мои комментарии. Заходите на любой урок по курсу Intermediate и переходите в описание. В описании первая ссылочка стоит у нас здесь Subscription to Boosty, Workbook Answer, Keys Here. Щелкайте на данную ссылочку и переходите на сайт Boosty. Далее производите регистрацию, то есть любым удобным способом. После этого вы можете оформить любую из данных подписок. В самой первой подписке Student разобраны рабочие тетради. После того, как вы подписываетесь, переходите в главное меню, где есть удобная навигация. Вот здесь English File Elementary, English File Pre-Intermediate, English File Intermediate. В принципе, то, что нам нужно. Щелкайте на данную ссылочку Workbook, вас переносит к данному посту. Там будут даны ссылки на видео с разборами рабочих тетрадей. Они будут постоянно обновляться, то есть выходит новый юнит, автоматически здесь появляются разборы и рабочие тетради. Это поможет вам лучше разобраться в домашней работе, ну а мне в свою очередь поможет продолжать выпускать данные видеоролики, потому что, ребят, честно, без вашей поддержки делать это очень-очень тяжело. Спасибо за внимание. Переходим к заключительному слову. Well, that's it, everyone. You made it, finally. It was quite a difficult lesson, and for me, and for you. You've now officially gone behind the scenes of the film world. We've covered so much together, yeah, haven't we? From the life of extras, those background actors we never really notice, to the grammar of the passive voice. From cinema vocabulary to real film stories. It's been a lot, but you did it. And here is something I want you to remember. Grammar. Grammar isn't just, rules in a textbook. It's not just exercises to complete and kind of do the brackets. It's a tool. It's how we talk about kind of how things are made, how films are shot, how stories are directed. It helps us describe the world. And vocabulary, same thing. Vocabulary isn't just a list of words to memorize, it's how you describe the films you love. It's how you explain the stories that move you, the scenes that stay with you. So, whether you choose to write a film review someday or maybe rewatch a classic with new understanding or even just, notice the extras in the next film you see, the people in the background doing their job, you're now seeing cinema with different eyes, deeper eyes, more informed eyes, I would say. So keep watching, keep learning, and most importantly, keep sharing your voice. Your opinion always matters. Your thoughts about a film, they are valid. Share them, even with yourself, because you're watching a video lesson. And a quick thank you. Before I go, I just want to say it would be so nice, so helpful if you could support me and this channel. Please consider putting a like on this video, subscribing to both the YouTube and Telegram channels. That really helps. And you know what? The absolute best thing you can do, the thing that helps me the most, is to subscribe on boosty.com. Your support there allows me to keep making more wonderful lessons like this one. So if you can, and if you want, if you've found this useful, please think about it. Alright, I think that's all for today. Thank you for watching, thank you for learning with me and staying with me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care.